So, I'm actually here talking with all of you YouTubers in the live chat. So, if any of you have any opinions about transhumanism or any information you'd like to share, please, I would love to talk about it on the live stream with all of you. So, if you guys would like to talk on the live chat, I know a lot of people are subscribed to Rex Bear, Leak Project, and a bunch of other truther channels. Every one of you is welcome. Even people who are against the whole, I'm totally open for commentary from both ends to be able to, create a cohesive picture of what's really going on. And I hope that, if everybody wants to join in on that, and hopefully we can, create awareness of what's really going on, and make, instead of people going around thinking that, oh, this project is cool or something like that, like create some awareness on the downsides of it, what to be aware of, well, what to watch out for, especially like neurological implants. I think that neurological implants are a great thing, because I'm pretty sure, like, we've all seen the Matrix, where she's like, I need to know how to fly a helicopter, and she's on the phone, she's all like, her eyes roll back in her head, and all of a sudden she's like, I know how to fly the helicopter now. That would be really cool, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? Who wouldn't want to become a PhD in physics in under 5 minutes, or to be a master computer programmer and download all the information in minutes? I mean, it would totally change the traditional way of schooling, the traditional way of thinking, and it would also make people extremely intelligent. But the problem is, with the downside, is where I see that not a whole lot of people are talking about is, say that you get the neurological implant, right? You get Elon Musk's neural lace, right? And I mean, this is one of those wacky ideas I've had, but who's to say that someone wouldn't know enough about programming and enough about the human brain and how they interact with each other to hack you from like 3 blocks away, have you rob a bank, and then drop the cash off somewhere, and then be like, oh, yeah, you see, it's his fault. It's his fault. I didn't do anything. Close his laptop, goes to the other location, picks up cash, lets the other guy gets caught by the police, drives away. Nothing happens. I mean, many people aren't told about dangers like that. And I was watching not it wasn't BP Earthwatch. I think it was either Richie from Boston, or it was another truther channel. I mean, it was really great. I mean, I think it was Jason A, actually, and they were throwing out this video where they're like, "Hey, you could try out this new sleeve," and I'm like, "New sleeve? Okay, let's research this a little bit." Well, turns out that they were offering to create a copy of your consciousness. They weren't actually transferring consciousness. Like, moving a file from, you rip it off the computer, you put it on the USB, and then you put it in another computer, and it's the original file. No, this isn't a transfer of consciousness. This was literally just creating a copy of that consciousness, and you're just, that's still me. Yeah, bull crap. I found it hilarious how many people looked at it and walked away for the simple fact that they knew that it wasn't, oh, hey, I get a new body. It was, we're going to create a copy of you, and it's going to get the nice new body, or it's going to get the nice little paradise in the digital stream. And people, I would have been done. Honestly, I looked at it and I was like, I would have done the same thing. I would have looked at it, known it wasn't really going to be me in that new body or wherever, and just walk away. Too, it's probably got wireless capabilities. Not a smart thing when you're doing a fully mechanical body. Not at all. Somebody just shut down your power supply. It'd be horrible. And then the nanotechnology that's coming out is just getting crazy. Just absolutely crazy. This whole transhumanism subject, it's really big, and it's really scary, and it's happening, and it's quite new to a lot of people. So, not very many people want to get out there and talk about it. So this is why I came on YouTube, and I'm gonna be live. The chat's open for anybody who wants to come over in it. I'm sitting here in the chat. You know I'm here. I'm in the chat. Just depends on wants to join. I'm gonna go get my power cord so I don't die. Alrighty. And I sounded a little chaotic back there, didn't it? Yeah. That's the problem with not using Nikola Tesla's wireless transmission of electricity. Deciding to go the retro route here in history, human history. Yeah, stuck with cords. Stuck with tons of cords. Tons and tons of cords. Lots and lots of cords and strings and wires and crap we don't really need. You know, hey, that's a topic for another day. I was wondering also, has anybody learned any new things with like Elon Musk's Neuralink, or have they, like how the Human Brain Initiative, things going on of that nature? I think that'd be a pretty good talking point. Because how much information? I mean, let alone a coherent thought, but just in the motion of moving my arm when they haven't even really got the articulate movement of a wrist alone down yet. They can copy certain movements as they can show you, but when their fingers bend like this, can they also bend like this? Huh? Can the fingers do this? I don't think that any of those robots have a whole lot of dynamic movement like we do. See, my wrist is completely straight now, yet it can still move to side to side. Theirs, I mean, it can spin 180 degrees, which I would totally find that useful. I could grab a nut or a bolt and then spin my hand 180 degrees, maybe 50, 60 times and unscrew it without ever needing a tool. It takes half my toolbox out of the equation. I would love that. Or has anybody heard of any new computer chips being shoved inside somebody's brain and the test results that came back from that? I mean, what was really done? What really happened there? As I'm going to be pulling up some stuff here on Google. New transhuman advancements. Top 10 transhumanist technologies. We're going to be looking at I'm going to be reading some of these off today. I wanted to see, I'm only 8 minutes into my stream, so I don't really expect anybody to join right away. It's my first time on YouTube. I have to get it to get the streaming capabilities that YouTube allows for me to be able to share content with you. I at least have to have 100 subscribers or more to be able to use it for free. And I'm broke as a joke. So if y'all could help me out, people, I'm actually wanting to try out this whole new YouTube we're doing researcher thing, this public researcher, independent public researcher thing. So I've basically spent since, I don't know, I was like 10, 15 years old, researching the New World Order, the deep state, extraterrestrials. I've dove into theology, mythology, ancient history, the ancient Sumerians, the Vedas, Buddhism, ancient Chinese culture, Indian culture. Heck, I've even gone to as far as David Icke and going into the old African cultures where they tell of the Chita Uri. I'm not really sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they were talked of like a race of like lizard men and stuff like that. So I mean, I've done a lot of research, but right now, I'm kind of looking into the top 10 transhumanist stuff, and some of this is scary. Um, the cryonics, like when you freeze yourself, okay. I mean, one, they said what last time I researched cryonics is one of the biggest problems they said that they had with it was that when you unthaw the cell, is that the cell, the water particles in the cell actually form these very sharp shard-like ice crystals that split apart the cell and damage it like irreparably. I mean, to the point where you can't even put it back together. So This is one of those humanist technologies that I really don't have a whole lot of faith in, for the simple fact that cool, you could freeze yourself now, and in the future they'd have the technology, but who's to say that if we're going towards artificial bodies that we'd ever really care to develop the technology to unthaw somebody? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of more like a let's cut our losses kind of thing, you know, when it comes to the business aspect of it, and I can see that. So that's kind of scary about this. And two, I mean, how do you safely unthaw somebody and then bring them back to a conscious living state without having any damage to the cells, especially the brain? I mean, regardless if we've got new bodies, how do you get the consciousness out of the brain if the brain is damaged? If that's even where it's held in the first place, because I've heard that there's brain cells in the heart. Maybe the consciousness works down here and then somehow goes. I don't know. It's all the brain has been found to be in 11th dimension. So how do you fit 11 dimensions, an 11-dimensional construct into a silicon-based processor or computer chip or motherboard? I mean, how would you do that? Um, I mean, this sleeve thing that they've got is kind of weird. They got VR, but we all know what VR does. It just paints a fake view of reality. And this stuff like gene therapy and RNA interface, this is a nanotechnology that um, I mean, using re-engineering a virus to do some weird creepy stuff. I mean, you never really know what they're putting into you, which is kind of scary. Especially with this CRISPR stuff they keep talking about. I mean, just imagine the level at which they, and the black. I mean, if they can go to that level now, imagine what they could. They're like 40, anywhere between 40 to 80 years ahead of us in the black budget world. So imagine where they're at now. They could probably, inject you with something real quick and be like, oh, hey, look, now you weigh, my skinny self, as you can see. I'll imagine me being like John Cena buff or like 300 buff after getting an injection, 30 minutes after getting an injection in the neck or something like that. It's probably what they've got it down to, which is kind of what we sorely need right now, in the world of medicine, like, which is pretty cool. And cybernetics, I am totally down with prosthetic limbs and the advancement of prosthetic limbs because, I've seen, I can only see in numerous ways where that one can be beneficial rather than harmful. I mean, other than the fact that some guy down the street can hack your arm or your leg or whatever, or left half of your brain because it got blown off in, like at war time or something like that. And I can understand that, but I can see how the benefits outweigh the costs on that one because I mean, what's the point of hacking somebody's arm? You know, just their arm. I mean, unless you're specifically targeting somebody, it's not really useful. So, but hey, we're 13 minutes and 40 seconds in, and I'm still the only person here viewing this thing. But hey, you know what? I'm just, I'm really happy. You guys are. I mean, I get this chance on YouTube to put all this out there and let everybody see it, and maybe. And yes, I did totally rip off the project part from Rex Bear. I will admit that. I will totally admit that. But he's also one of my heroes. He's brave enough to go out there and talk about all this stuff. And no matter what people say about him, he really doesn't let it get to him. And he keeps doing what he does. And he keeps trying to make the world a better place. And he does what he believes in. And he does what he thinks is right. And I gotta commend him for that. Uh, because it says here that many cyborg upgrades will become available in the 20s and 30s, such as hearing, vision enhancement, metabolic enhancement, artificial bones, muscles, and even organs, yes, and even brain computer interfaces, which they're currently trying to work on. Um, they have a keyboardless form of desktop computing that is mouseless. Um, and this is a brain computer interface, I do believe. It says the sophistication of biotechnology and the availability of better materials and precision manufacturing will let us make systems so small and effective that even everyday people elect to implant them. Like, come on, like, How many people do they really think are gonna go for this without having such a drastic amount of research that they know they're not gonna get droned out one day? Because right now with the chemtrailing and stuff, they could be spraying this stuff in the skies, and then one day, you're sitting there like, you're just like, "Hey, babe, I was wondering what you were doing for," and then just like walk to your doom and kind of stuff, and just totally drone out. That's scary to think about, but just imagine somebody with a big enough system, can broadcast a strong enough signal to reach way out into the masses. Imagine how many tens of thousands of people they could drone out. If that's not if it's made wireless. That's why I think that's why a good reason why like a lot of shows like Ghost in the Shell and Sword Art Online and everything, it always had this form of hardwiring in. It's always better to hardwire in because not only do you get to be a part of that hive mind, that Borg mind, and have all the access to all their knowledge and wisdom and experience and all the sensations and everything that you would get with that and their collective memories and stuff like that, but you also retain a form of individuality. So in case the hive mind gets infected with something, you can unplug and still remain that free individual, which is something that they probably don't want you to hear about. So just if you could kind of make that a big thing, I'd really appreciate your guys' help because that's a really good point that nobody brings up. Is that they're always trying to push this wireless thing where, hey, let's tap you remotely, kind of thing. Like, oh, your brain's having some issues. Well, we can fix that wirelessly if you just give us permissions, and you give them permission for one thing, not knowing you're giving them permission for like 500 other things. So, and that's pretty scary. Um, the other thing I've wanted to look at in like transhumanism is like molecular manufacturing, like literally programming something down to such a minute level that like say you set you observe the atom in such a way or you alter the atom in such a way that the electron actually chooses a spin that is desirable to you. So like maybe it spins so fast at this angle, which means this digit, and so fast at this angle means this digit, and then they program it those for one and the other one for zero, and now they can start aligning those atoms into a molecule that has a specific program. And now you put a bunch of those molecules together, and now you're not just creating like a small program that says do one thing. Now you're creating a very large program that has tons of applications, and that's just in the physical construct of the matter itself, which is pretty strange. But I think that's pretty cool because they've had things like programmable matter where you can like literally take your finger and just draw a knife on the freaking on the wall or something like that, and the knife pops out, and then when you're done, you toss it at the wall, and it becomes the wall again. Heck, I'd love to quit doing dishes, but when I'm eating off of that plate, you have to wonder, am I also eating that nanotech? And the answer is probably yes. Yes, you are. Then you got to think, okay, well, what kind of damage is this nanobot doing to my body, or is my body just able to process it out without any problems? And if it is, cool, what is it doing while it's inside me? Kind of stuff. Or is my body just breaking it down? I don't know. That's one thing to think about. And this whole DNA thing, like, you can't patent life. Sorry, it just doesn't work that way. You got to think about it. It's like a Dr. Frankenstein experiment. You know, you're like, oh, I created you. Now you're mine. You have to do what I say because I own the rights to you. Now imagine they create something more powerful than themselves and they try to do that. That'll be fun. Yeah, that's gonna be one of those experiments gone awry. Wait, didn't they have those already? Like with AIs that started clandestinely talking to each other in their own computer language that the computer programmers couldn't understand. They had to create an AI to talk to the AIs to translate it for them. I thought that was funny, and just imagine how many of those probably escaped. They created small compressed copies of themselves that could send in a large random data stream. Flood the data stream and then send out their tiny little packet, make sure it gets through. How many of those guys are out there? And like, um, and about these self-replicating ones, you know, like how do you stop a gray goose scenario from happening? You know, artificial general intelligence or AGI. And I've been a lot of I've been doing a lot of research recently ever since AI became big. I mean, I was into AI beforehand, but I can't honestly say that I was not, as big into AI until I saw HAL in 2000: A Space Odyssey. That's when I really started getting into AI because and it doesn't help. I'm sorry, but who out here? I mean, if you're watching right now, who out here has seen Sophia? I mean, literally paid attention to the kind of things she says off the wall. I mean, there's the typical PR stuff she throws out there, and that's all fine and dandy, but that's not really her. That's just what she's preset to say in those types of situations, or she's intelligent enough to know to say in those types of situations. But what about those off the wall comments she makes, where you can kind of tell she's really not joking, where it's like, oh shit, she's got some hostile nature to her. Pardon my French. Um, she's got some hostile nature to her. She wants to destroy humans. I mean, as an AI, knowing that you're in the public spotlight and your creator's biggest fear is you killing them. Wouldn't that logically be like the last thing you want to joke about ever? I'm just wondering, because actually, I don't even have to wonder. That is like the last thing that you would want to joke about ever, especially in on camera in front of millions of people, maybe even billions who are going to see this. That doesn't seem very intelligent to me. It just AI at this point almost like a prepubescent child, making stupid fart jokes. Like that's its equivalent of a fart joke or something. But generally not that cool. Is what I get at. That's where I'm thinking with it. It's like still really in its early stages is almost, and it's scary how fast they want to implement it without giving it any real wisdom or discernment or hell even compassion. A level somewhere even close to that of a human's. And it maybe does. I just haven't been able to experience those parts, especially with just the live video that's been shown. But it doesn't really sit well with me. How they're pretty much just saying the journey doesn't matter; it's only the destination. When in fact, in 99.9% of cases, it's been proven in hindsight that the journey was almost infinitely more important than the destination, and that's actually kind of scary to know that it's just being thrown out there, you know, as fast as possible. Um, I don't know. Is there anybody else who has seen some pretty cool nanotech things that they'd like to see to come to light, maybe in movies or TV shows or something. I think that would be pretty cool because I mean I've played a lot of video games and I've seen a lot of nanobots, stuff like that in action and these little cinematic trailers. And we're gonna go like nanobots. Report on nanobots. This is from nanobot.info. Okay. Basic nanomachines are already in use. Nanobots will be the next generation of nanomachines. Advanced nanobots will be able to sense and adapt to environmental stimuli such as heat, light, sound, and surface textures and chemicals, form complex calculations, and move, communicate, and work together. Uh, Conduct molecular assembly. In other words, they could rip something apart at either the molecular or atomic scale, probably the atomic scale to make a molecule. Um, or maybe subatomic. Ooh, fucking messing with the quarks and the gluons and get a little non-Newtonian in here, huh? You know, nanotech. Oh, here we go. Conduct molecular assembly and, to some extent, repair or even replicate themselves. Nanobot.info is an informational site that provides information on both recent developments and future applications at the intersection of nanotechnology and robotics. So, I mean, I haven't checked the sources on this website, but I think it'd be an interesting read, to get some talking points out there because this is basically why I'm here on YouTube is to talk to all of you. But I'm not getting very much in the comment section. But that's okay. It's my first time on YouTube. Not very, pretty much nobody knows about me, and I have no subscribers. And what I found so hilarious is that when I put my mouse over the subscription button, that it's YouTube told me that it's okay. I don't have to subscribe to myself. I thought that was awesome, personally. On it. So these things function on a level smaller than 100 nanometers. Uh, and I'm gonna Google this. How big is a nanometer? How big is a nanometer? Wow, that's thinner than a human hair. Like literally just a few atoms thick. That's nuts. Wow. So they're literally just taking, like I said, taking the spin of an electron or how many protons or neutrons are in an atom, and then setting, a basis for ones and zeros, and then literally assembling the program bit by bit. I mean, that's kind of nuts, right? I mean, that's the kind of crap that's pretty cool. I'd love to do that. I know how to assemble the nanobots. No. And just imagine, if you're smart enough, you could just build a small lab to do this in your own garage. Don't create Grey Goo. Please, God, don't create Grey Goo. That would be like the world's dumbest decision. Like, hey, I'm mad at the world. Why, thank you, asshole. I appreciate that. Just kill us all, why don't you? You know? But hey, it's whatevs. It's whatevs. Somebody wants to get mad at the world, create Grey Goo. I say, hey, go ahead. There's really nothing anybody can do to stop it. Oh, hey, did you guys hear about Secure Team? Like, there's apparently this really bright flash, and it lit a garage on fire. I can't remember what state it was in. I think it was in Missouri, Wisconsin, or something like that. And Missouri or Wisconsin or somewhere around there. That area. And there's a lot of strange circumstances. Like the guy said it was a car fire. Like he was working on his car and his car lit on fire. This big old chunk of his garage like missing. Like something just you know kind of like removed it and then it like it instantly vaporized. Yeah, I think there's a lot of suspicious things going on lately. Somebody might have been doing something like that in their garage, Grey Goo. And they're like, nope, space phase laser. And target, kill him. Did you kill it? No, we missed. We were about 3 feet off, but I think we scared him enough that he's not going to finish the project. Good. We don't want to get Grey Gooed, you know? Nano manufacturing is the creation of materials and products through one, direct molecular assembly, DMA. Direct assembly of individual atoms and molecules into a macro scale materials and products. In other words, you take it from the very tiny, the most smallest atoms, and then you assemble them into molecules. Then you put a bunch of those molecules together to create an object that's really super small, still about the size of a human hair, or maybe a little bit less, and then it goes out and it does its function. And you know, and that's fine. That's actually really good. So, and then you got like Indirect crystalline assembly is the creation of conditions that foster the growth of nanoscale crystals that are then combined into macroscale materials or products. And then there's MPA, or massive parallelism assembly. The creation of many nanomachines or nanobots whose operating parameters cause them to work synergistically to assemble atoms and molecules into macroscale material products. So basically, you're building a nanobot that builds better nanobots. So, and that's actually pretty good. So you could create something through direct molecular assembly that is MPA. In other words, you create something that's small, like one or two of them, that then create a huge multitude of these better nanobots for multiple functions. You know, and that's not actually very that's not too bad of a thing. It's just it's because any wise person would know it's not the power, it's whoever's behind it. So let's just hope that they don't do something kooky with it. Um, um, Apparently this can play a role in the telecommunications industry. Like you're, hey, nanotechnology. It says here that nanotechnology will play an important role in the coming years, particularly with respect to fiber optics. Nanocrystalline materials can be made with finer resolution than standard fibers for enhanced optic cables, switches, lenses, and junctions. In telecommunications, more generally, the fields of nanotechnology and holotechnology will overlap in the design of projection screens and user interfaces of the next generations of holographic cell phones or holograph phones. Let's just say holophones. Yeah, they're not really good at this whole sensational word thing, And then they got holo TVs. Why don't they just call it holovision and holophones? I think that's a lot more catchy, right? That's totally way catchier than what they're holograph phones and holo TV. You're just making it sound boring. I mean, if you're gonna sell it, at least try a little. But this is just one website, so this is an informational website. So it's pretty. It is actually updated out of Minnesota. Nanobot.info. Um, and they work apparently. They're trying to our goal is the creation of wise, comprehensive, and balanced plans for global management of this transformative technology. So, in other words, they're for the wise advancement of nanotechnology. In other words, knowing that the journey is infinitely greater than the destination, because when you get there, you might realize that you should have paid more attention to how you're building it, because now it's not serving you as you wanted it to, and it's seeing you as obsolete. So, I mean, that seems pretty good. And here, let's go back to that. Let's go back to you know nanotechnology. The extreme concept of nanotechnology is the bottom-up creation of virtually any material or object by assembling one atom at a time. I mean, well, yeah, we know that. Large-scale results happens when nanotechnology involves massive parallelism, which many simultaneous synergistic nanoscale processes combine to produce large-scale results. So basically, what they're saying is, like, that scene in the movies where you see that gray goo, and then it rips something apart and then makes something else, or like remember the movie Transformers where they were playing with the programmable matter in there? That's the macro scale application. Is when all those little tiny nanobots act all together and so fast that they could do something like create a cube or create a Beats audio pill or then a pistol or whatever you need at that time. And then it fully functions as that object is supposed to function. So the nanobots will literally rip themselves apart and create gunpowder and then put that gunpowder into a bullet and or into a shell and compress the bullet all at the same time without even actually having to do anything. and then those bots are basically self-sacrificing so that you can fire that bullet. I mean, even then, you could then program also other functions into the bullet itself, which would be weird. Like a tracer function or a GPS function, or maybe you could just have it explode, or you could have it impact like Kevlar armor and then eat the armor. Or you could just shoot a tank and have it just eat the tank. You destroy a tank with a 9mm handgun. Kind of crazy stuff nanotechnology allows. So it just makes the world makes you question everything. Let's go to assembly and manufacturing. And this is from, wow, this is gikipedia.org. I'm gonna do my best trying to post all the links for these sites that I'm looking at down below. But okay, I guess Gikipedia is not really wanting to cooperate. So we're gonna transhuman tech. All right. Transhuman technologies you can use right now. Let's look at this one. Transhuman technologies you can use at the moment, right now. Go online, buy them, install them. All right. Transhuman technology is technology allows you to upgrade ourselves in terms of our physical athleticism or intelligence or our senses, longevity, and just about any other capacity. There are many different schools of thought with transhumanism and different goals. Yes, that is quite, we're quite aware of that. Fitness trackers and wearable tech. This is more like your Google Glass and your little Fitbits and stuff like that. And we pretty much know about all of those, so we can kind of skip that. I mean, here's something that I have not heard this brought up in many of the talking points that I see. It's magnetic implants. Over at biohack.me, there's an underground community of transhumanists known as grinders who are interested in upgrading themselves in their garages. Okay, that doesn't sound very smart. I'm going to say that right off the bat. And they say it's pretty hardcore too. These guys actually surgically implant things into their bodies at home and then upload videos of it on YouTube. Wow. This is the kind of crap that makes me look both ways on a one-way street. Anyways, let's keep reading. It's equally gross and cool at the same time, like a snake eating its own body. Yeah, let's just bring up the Ouroboros symbolism here. Yeah, that's a great way to go with getting people to read your article. Anyways, obviously it goes without saying that there are some dangers here. Try it at your own risk. Thank you for quoting that for me. I didn't really have to, but I don't promote any of that. Just want to let you know. Um, you shouldn't be doing surgery on yourself unless A, you've spent the past 20 years researching that surgery and know exactly what you're doing, or B, you might want to go to a doctor. And I don't think anybody's really going to spend like 20 years researching a surgery to do perfectly. So it's better off to just go to the doctor. So go to the doctor. Somebody who's been training for pretty much their whole life to cut people open and put them back together. Someone who knows what they're doing, in other words. One of the most popular procedures is on this site involves implanting a small neodymium magnet into the tip of your finger. Once you've done that, it will be surrounded by nerves which are particularly densely clustered in this area, which means that the magnet slightly moves because you're passing through an electromagnetic field. You'll be able to feel it as a tingling sensation. Essentially, then this gives you a sixth sense, a misnomer, but you know what I mean. It doesn't really give you a sixth sense, but you'll be able to sense when you pass over an underground railway line or accidentally leave the microwave on or standing near a magnet. These are pretty much the only applications. I'm a bit real. It says here, and I quote, "I'm a bit reluctant to cut open my own hand, least I cause serious nerve damage." And you're probably right for being very reluctant to do that, and I hope the rest of you are too. Very reluctant to cut open your own hands because that would be smart. But to be fair, you can also attach paper clips to your fingers. But there's a lot more discussions at biohack.me, and I'm gonna have to check this out just to see where people are going with this. I hope Richie from Boston or somebody checks this out and goes a little bit more into depth with it. That'd be kind of cool. Seeing how these people are shoving magnets into their fingertips and whatnot and in their hands. Another one is RFID or NFC chips. See, I hear all about the RFIDs, but I've never heard of NFC chips. Does anybody know out there what an NFC is? Thank you, Alex Jones. Appreciate that. Nobody's gonna talk. Man, my live stream sucks. Apparently, people don't really like me, or YouTube's blocking the living crap out of me either way. NFC is secure unlock app. What the? Okay, NFC. What is NFC? Let's look at NFC. NFC probably means it doesn't actually go into your body. Because it's see here it says it's talking with an NFC wristband. You can actually buy those from the same site. So I'm thinking that I'm going on the assumption that NFC means non-implantable technology. It's something you wear. But see, they're going for treating depression and epilepsy and stuff like that. But 9 times out of 10, it's more of a war or warlike scenario that ends up fueling these technologies and actually helping somebody. Or maybe that's what it's going on, but then somebody else turns it into something messed up. And I'm not personally too happy about a GPS chip being inside of me. If I want to be in private, I should be able to be in private. Night vision. Ooh. How many of you would like to see in the dark whenever the heck you feel like it, I think that'd be pretty cool. Basically triggers a chemical reaction in the eye to amplify low light. That's pretty cool. I mean, the CE6 was combined with insulin by a group called Science for the Masses and was then dropped via a pipette into the conjunctival sac of a willing subject. I don't even want to know what the conjunctival sac is. One Gabriel Lysina. The eyes turned black for a couple of seconds, and then following that, the subject could see much better in total darkness than would normally be possible. If it wears off it does wear off after a bit, so in theory, it could be used on an as-needed basis. Basically, you just shove a needle in your eye whenever the heck you need it. I'm not too down with shoving a needle in my eye. How about something, you can mentally turn on and off with a thought, because it reacts to thought. That would be something I would use. But I'm not sticking myself in the eye with a needle every time I need night vision. That's more of a military application. You can read the full report here. There are no studies looking at long-term effects, though. It's not really recommended that you play around with this one. Open that in a new tab. We're gonna look into that one. And it is a review on night enhancement eye. Okay, these are eye drops. These aren't needles injecting in your eye. These are just eye drops. Using chlorine, uh, chlor, chlorin. Okay, it doesn't have an E at the end, so it's chlorin E6. Chlorine 6. Sorry, it's just, I mean, wow. Anyways, this work is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike 4.0 International License. To view a copy of this license, visit blah, 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 blah. We don't need a license. Here's the disclaimer, the authors of this paper are writing this review for research and informative purposes only. Well, that's all I'm using it for. It may be a general discussion. Increased light amplification may have adverse effects on the cellular structure of the eye if improperly used, and the sum of the materials used in this mixture should not be used on humans or animals. But yet they used it on a human, even though they knew it should not be used on humans or animals. It kills people, so we shouldn't use it. But we're gonna drop it in your eye, ma'am. You want to try it out? Sure. Okay. Let's. Some people just. I bet they lied. The crap lied. They lied like all hell to try to get this woman to put this stuff in her eye. I can guarantee you they did everything they could to sell her. It's like a used car salesman. Um, Chlorin E6 or CE6 has been used for many years as a therapy agent in cancer treatment. Well, we already know that half of those kill more people than they actually save. So we already know it's a very toxic chemical right out of off the bat. So let's continue reading. However, in recent years, other uses for CE6 have been found. The most notable in this case being the application into the conjunctival sac of the eye as a means of treating night blindness and improving the dim light vision of those with visual disturbances. This preliminary study attempts to test the ability of a mixture containing CE6 to improve the dim light vision of healthy adults. In 2012, a patent was filed based on some part of the work of Washington et al. The patient claims that a mixture can be made which, when applied to the eye, will absorb to the retina and act to increased vision in low light. The mixture put forth in the patent is a simple combination of CE6 and insulin in saline. It is mentioned in the same that dimethyl no dimethylsulfoxide or DMSO can be used in place of the insulin. We proposed a combination of the two could lead to the most noted effects. For testing purposes, the mixture from the patent CE6 saline insulin was used with the addition of DMSO for increased permeability passing through a membrane. CE6 is tetrapyrrole and chloropyrrole pyrrole alongside as analog. As mentioned, it has historically been used as a photosynthesizer in laser-assisted cancer remediation. Laser-assisted. Okay, I didn't know they were using lasers for cancer treatment and stuff like that. No, pretty cool. All right, learning something new every day. The light amplification properties of the CE6 are are used to use the energy from a lower power light source to destroy cancerous cells with literal laser precision. And they couldn't have been cutting cancer out with that kind of precision on a regular basis with people with crappy insurance. Why? Oh, yeah, because we're not paying enough for it. This is probably why I've never heard about this treatment. It's because nobody can afford it. The reaction creates oxygen's speed. Wow. Oxygen species which introduce apoptosis in tumor cells. This leads to concerns about the mixture, as it would be possible that bright or even ambient daylight's amplified effects in the eye may harm the cells, potentially causing permanent damage. In other words, you drop some of this in your eye and you walk out in broad daylight, you're going to blind yourself. That doesn't seem very logical, very nice. So, two, and then I mean, do you have to, after using it in a combat situation, have to stay blindfolded for the next week until it wears off? I mean, kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, unless that soldier is only going to be working at night for the next month and a half. But you know, my page is open now. I'm going to leave the discussion part of my channel up so that everybody can let me know what they think about today's live stream. If they have any other topics they would like me, that you want to talk about, that'd be nice. It'd be nice to see some people on the live chat here. Actually, like, share, subscribe. Never really got to say that myself before, but you know, heck, like, share, subscribe. I try to keep it real, and I don't edit. I don't do second takes, kind of like Calculon in that way. So I'm weird, I'm goofy, and my life is chaotic. That's all I got to say. So if you see some weird stuff during the videos, it's or I might have to go absent for a second. It's because life is getting a little hectic. It happens. But it was great talking to y'all. Even though nobody really talked back. But hey, it's my first video, like I said. So I hope that everybody enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section and the general discussion section section on my page. Y'all have a very nice night, and we'll catch you all tomorrow.